He'll be on Skype with us, and now invite acting spokesperson of Minister of Defense, Vladyslav Seleznyov. He will inform you about the activity of MOD during the last day, and also he will provide data on payments to military men for destroyed vehicles and weapons of the enemy. Good morning. Happy to see you. It's Friday, February 13, and there are a lot of us. Everything will be fine. I will have to inform you about the following. The Minister of Defense, General Colonel Stepan Poltorok, signed an order on payments and confirmation during ATO. Confirmation on implementations of task for direct participation. ATO military men are paid 100% of monthly payment, but not less than 3,000 hryvnia a month. The payment is paid out during if they are in a hospital after wounds got during ATO. For successful implementation of the tasks, there is an additional payment for the units. Results of the implementation is decided on documents and confirmation about there should be a military order, a log of engagements, and a reporting document from the military unit about the implementation of the task, which is every military man who participates is mentioned, and also an honor of ATO headquarters about the results of implementation of that military task, combat task. The payment is distributed by the commander between units, mentioning the size of payment to everyone. About the additional payment for successful implementation of the combat task, there is an order of the commander of the military unit for direct participation in engagements. After the order, military men are paid additionally 1,000 hryvnia for every day of participation in engagements. Direct participation in engagements, combat engagements, and implementation of combat task and during engagement, directed engagements with the enemy, a task of missile and artillery during counter-battery battles, participation in operational intelligence collection flights to ATO area, and counterintelligence support for military men and for law enforcement bodies in ATO during under conditions of direct engagements with the enemy. The payment of that payment is done on the basis of confirmation from ATO order, a log of engagements, and a report on engagement, and an order of the commander of the military unit. Additional payment for destroyment of enemy's vehicles is paid to 2 units or 2 separate individuals if there are 3 or more confirmation documents, for example, log of engagements and summary report of the commander of a unit that was responsible for the task, and also photo and video and coordinates from the place. Then there will be a document about the trophy. Additional payment is provided to military men who arrested, who were taken prisoner, are missing or died during military operations. The first Deputy Minister of Ukraine, Ivan Rusnak, in the government contact center, participated in the meeting to describe a new strategic bulletin, military bulletin. Expert meetings involved representatives from different departments of the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine and also General Staff of Armed Forces of Ukraine, and representative of public agencies, civic groups, experts, and mass media from 5 regions of Ukraine. Participants of the meeting discussed results of of an overview of the security defense sector in 2014-2015. The first Deputy Minister of Defense emphasized that the third strategic bulletin was prepared under different circumstances than the previous one, because Ukraine has to change radically its views on military policy and preparation of defense, to cancel non-blocs data center, to decide about integration to European structures and to North American structures, and as one of the reasons of national security. New document of strategic defense bulletin took into consideration the sector of security and defense of European Union as an example, and it will allow to coordinate the efforts and to stand against threats in the military field. Then there'll be a united system of management of the sector of defense and security, and there are a lot of important amendments to the legislation on defense. For the development of the strategic bulletin, the Ministry of MODs set up an analytical group of experts. Materials of the bulletin were discussed monthly during the meetings of that group, and they invited experts, scientists, and representatives of the public, including volunteers. In January 2015, the draft bulletin was discussed by participants of the interagency working group, on overview of defense sector and security sector in Kiev. And also it was brought to the consideration by top group on military reform in the framework of cooperation between Ukraine and NATO and Brussels. In both cases, the draft bulletin was supported. Details of the bulletin, which is about armed forces of Ukraine, will be a part of state program of how to optimize and organize armed forces of Ukraine for the period 2015-2017. And we continue developing that. The work on the strategic bulletin is almost over. The document is agreed with the central bodies of executive branch, and it was brought to the Ministry of Justice of Ukraine for legal expertise. So that is a brief information about the work of the Ministry of Defense during the previous day. Now I invite my colleague, Lieutenant Colonel Stelmakh. He is a spokesperson of ATO, and he will inform you about activities in ATO area. Anatoliy. Do you hear us? So, please, tell us about unfortunately, this day was also not come. The enemy, with the same intensity, shelled upon the positions of ATO. 25 times from ground system artillery militants shelling upon the Debaltseve and near villages. Around 8 o'clock in the evening, the enemy shelled, and they used Uragan system. In Luhansk, towards Luhansk, militants were shelling upon Shastya, Toshchivka, Krysh, Stanitsa Luhanska. Towards Donetsk, they used ground system to shell upon Vodyane. During the night, terrorists 40 times shelled upon positions of ATO and civilians. Our military men started to fire back only as a response, and I have to mention that there are more drones noticed. During the day, we noticed 22 drones over our positions. The most often, the enemy did towards Luhansk and towards Mariupol. Anti-aircraft means of armed forces of Ukraine identify such drones and destroy. Yesterday, around 12 o'clock, near Mospina, we shot down a drone of the enemy. These are all the news. Thank you. Now, some numbers from Vladyslav, and then we'll switch to questions and answers. So just some data for you. During the day, illegal military formations, they committed 111 shell-ins upon the positions of ATO, not very close to 47 towns and near Hill, Austria. As a result, as my colleague told, the most difficult situation is near Debaltsevo. So as a result of Ukraine lost 8 military men and 34 were wounded. We evacuated the wounded, and all the wounded are sent to hospitals and to get necessary medical support. In the morning, in the hospitals we have 594 military men. 27 of them are heavily wounded. Colleagues, your questions? As to the number of wounded, that is the number. It's as a result of because those wounded for the last day or for the whole period. For the day, during the day we had 34 wounded, but in hospitals we have 594 wounded because those who are rehabilitated and treated and they're sent to the military units or to other institutions for rehabilitation. The question about payments for destroyment of enemy's vehicles. Do you have any data? Who already appealed for remuneration, and how many, and since which day? For example, will they be paid for destroyment of those vehicles that they destroyed in October, September? And what about the government? And have they provided money for that program? Budget of the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine has that money for payments for efficient work of our military men. So we have that money. Second point, there is an instruction which is important. It regulates the order of those payments. I know that at present financial institutions of armed forces of Ukraine, they prepared necessary documents to do such payments, and we prepared a certain number of documents which gave the base to organize those payments. I hope that the first payments will be done in the coming days, but the procedure works like that, and payments are done. They're paid next month and analyzing the results of the previous months. So for January, for February, for example, there will be an order, and in March those payments will be done. More questions? No question. Thank you very much, Vladyslav. Thank you, Anatoly. Talk to you on Monday. I hope these 2 days before the ceasefire will be calm. Take care of yourself, of Ukraine. Talk to you on Monday. The next briefing will be at 12:30 by Anatoliy Stelmakh. Thank you.